So, I popped into High House Insurance to see if they could quote for my house insurance rather than using the internet. High House got a great deal. So, to celebrate, I bought a posh hairdo. It made me look beautiful, gorgeous enough to become a highly paid model. I then won Celebrity Big Brother. I had an affair with an MP. Now I'm promoting a doll of me that says, "Cool, blimey, you're well fit."
Happy things happen when you talk face-to-face with High House Insurance. See if we can beat your home insurance quote from the internet. Find us on the High Street Selsey or call 606 552.
Hello and welcome to Selsey Internet Radio. My name's Keith Barnes and it's good to be back with you again. In this week's show we have Jean Pratt, who's going to be telling us what's on in Selsey. We have Pat Reed, who's going to be telling us what's happening up the High Street. We also hear from Danny and Julie Kelly. Danny and Julie were responsible for the Christmas lunch that was laid on at the Town Hall on Christmas Day. We hear the last episode of The Life and Times of Tony Dann. And we hear from Mike Nicholls, who's going to be telling us what's happening down at Selsey Information Exchange. But firstly, we go across to Jean Pratt for What's On. Jean.
Hello, everyone. I would like to tell you of some of the things which are happening in the coming week in Selsey. On Sunday, the Oasis at Bun Ledger are having an open day, offering a free day of fun for all to enjoy. If you'd like more information, you can call on 608443. On Tuesday the 13th, the Royal Navy Association are meeting at the Selsey Club in Cox's Road at 8 o'clock. And it's for serving XRN, RM, QARNNS, RENS, Reserves, RFA and RNXS are very welcome. All inquiries contact Gavin Roriston, 607485. Also on Tuesday, the 13th of January, the Selsey Visually Impaired Club meet at Hanover Close Lounge from 2 till 4. Further details, Jill Erickson, 601628. On Wednesday, the 14th of January, Selsey WI meet at the Town Hall. If you want more information, call Pauline Bridger, 077 60126613. On Thursday the 15th of January, Selsey Voluntary Hearing Aid Unit will be at the Medical Centre from 2 until 4 o'clock. On Thursday the 15th of January, Link, which is Ladies in Contact, meet at St Peter's Church Hall, 7:15 for a 7:30 start. And they have Lynn Reeve from Tuppenny Rice, who I expect you will know from the lovely recipes she gives weekly. She's speaking about her unique tea shop in the village and the future endeavours she has recently been partaking in. The Venture Bus is available for members should they need it. If you want to know more, please ring Mary Grantham, 604718. On Friday the 16th of January, the Derby and Joan Club meet at St Peter's Church Hall from 2 till 4. If you are a member and would like to be picked up for more information on this, phone Jill Evenden, 604187. On Saturday, the 17th of January, the Scouts charity shop is open from 10 till 12 at Scouts headquarters, School Lane. Also on Saturday, the Venture Club have their garage sale, which is next to the co-op. If the weather is nice on Sunday, why not enjoy a visit to the pond at East Beach, where the Model Boat Club sell their boats from 10 until 12. And on the first Sunday of the month, it's race day. If you'd like more information, contact Chris on 601550. For those who enjoy netball, why not go along to the academy during January, either on Mondays from 6 till 7, where it's in the small gym or outside, or Tuesday 7 till 8, where it's inside the games hall. You are invited, whatever your abilities, to get fit and have fun. Why not go along with friends? For further information, call Penny on 07762 9922405. But if you are interested in football, have you thought about joining the Deadbeats walking football team? They're looking for more Bobby Charltons to join them, and they meet at the Selsey Centre from 6 till 7 on Thursdays. Go along and find out more about it. Further details, contact Martin Wood, 607721. What about carpet bowls? They meet at Medmerry School, School Lane, Wednesday and Thursday evenings at 7 or Sunday 9:30 and 3 p.m. Non-members are welcome. For more information, call Sylvia Cox 681663. That's all for this week. Goodbye.
Well, thank you for that, Jean. An awful long list of things to do this week, so well done. We go across now to Pat Reed, our Selsey shopper. Over to you, Pat.
Thank you. Hi, I am your Selsey shopper, and each month I hope to give you some helpful hints and information on what's going on in our high street. Walking into the high street during the afternoon of the first Monday after New Year, it seemed very quiet after the hustle and bustle of Christmas shoppers, but I noticed that a few changes are taking place. Delightful Things R Us has now moved on to East Beach, and that shop is now empty and awaiting new owners. Across the road there is also an empty shop, which was the wool shop and haberdashery, but much activity was taking place inside, so I made some inquiries as to what was going to replace it. I was given the telephone number of the new owner, Kate Schroeder, so I telephoned her and found her to be a very interesting lady. She at present owns Bella on the corner of the Bridleway, which I was including in my report this month anyway, so more about that later. Kate and her husband Brian also own Retro Treats, the lovely old-fashioned sweet shop presently in the High Street, and this is being moved into the new premises, which are much larger and give scope to exciting plans which Kate is putting into place. Retro Treats presently has 500 different sweets to choose from, 450 of which are displayed in large jars on their shelves. When the new shop opens, it will also be an old-fashioned style ice cream parlour, where they will make their own ice creams and sorbets, which will have very limited E-numbers and sugar. They will also be making their own fudge and chocolates on the premises, and to this end Kate and Brian have recently completed an intensive course at Bailiff's Court Hotel in making chocolates by hand. There will be tables and chairs and free newspapers, and you can sample one of the artisan coffees with flavoured toppings, which will also be available. Kate tells me that she is presently working in London full-time as a hospital manager, and all this is part of her retirement plan, whilst at the same time investing in Selsey's High Street and employing paid staff in all of her shops. In the 2.5 years that Retro Treats has been open, Kate says it's been a great success, and although Retro Treats is moving, she is going to put those premises to good use and is hoping to reopen the shop as a men's outfitters, which I'm sure will be a welcome addition to the High Street. I called into my bank, the National Westminster, which is closing on the 27th of January and which will be missed by Selsey residents who bank there. You will be able to pay cheques and money into the post office, but these transactions won't take place until the following day. The nearest NatWest branch will then be in East Street, Chichester, or you can manage your money online. I'm also told that Barclays will be open for 2 days less each week, and Lloyd's have not yet informed us whether their Selsey branch will be one of their pending closures. I notice that the Village Bakery, which is just a couple of doors from the NatWest, is now serving drinks to take away. These include all types of coffee, drinking chocolate and tea. They tell me they also have special offers on their bakery products, which change daily. So if you're fancying a cake or pastry, it's worth asking what's on offer that day. Across the road on the corner of the Bridleway is Bella, which I mentioned earlier, and which specialises in ladies' and children's fashion. At the moment there is 50% off all adult party dresses and coats and bridal wear. I'm told their prices are always at least half of those in other high street outlets, and they stock many well-known names. They are able to do this because their stock is mainly returns which have been sent back to the warehouse, but all new and unworn, or they buy them in bulk. I was shown their bridal room hidden away at the back of the shop, which I hadn't realised was there, and I'm told by the owner, Kate, that they stock around 200 bridal dresses. Future brides can browse and try them on in private. They also have a range of children's clothes, mainly for little girls, many of which are by Jasper Conran, and also swimwear for children and adults. A couple of doors away is the Liquid Merchant, who I have mentioned before, but they are still selling Blossom Hill and Echo Falls red, white and rosé wines at 3 bottles for £12, which is a great price. They have many more offers, or you can just call in for one of their many types of coffee and a light lunch, taking advantage of their comfortable seating and free newspapers. Have a look at their meal deals, where breakfast or lunch is only £2.50 or a cream tea for £2.99. Printworks, which is on the entrance of the Co-op car park, have a few offers on at the moment. They currently have 25% off all photo print canvases and compatible print cartridges. Also, all batteries are currently buy one, get one free. Lastly, I was recommending Grumpy's Cafe last month, and I noticed that in this month's Selsey Life they have a voucher for 10% off all purchases there until the end of January. Well, that's all for this month, so tune in next month when I'll keep you up to date with what's happening in Selsey High Street.
Well, some exciting times there for the High Street by the sounds of it, Pat. Quite how Kate Schroeder considers buying and running 3 shops is any form of retirement, I cannot imagine, but I'm sure we wish Kate and Brian all the best for their efforts in the future. Now, I must just tell you this. It's a funny aside, but it struck me as hilarious. Recently, or about 6-8 weeks ago, my wife and I decided to take out one of these funeral plans. Now, they're available from all over the place, and they seem a good idea. You pay your money now, and when you die, they put you away, and that's fine. Then you folks don't have to worry about it. But the funniest thing happened just here. They sent me a customer satisfaction survey. Why would anybody dealing with dead people send them a customer satisfaction survey? You couldn't possibly tell them what you thought until it was too late. Anyway, maybe it's just me. But moving on from here. Back in about September last year, a couple of people had an idea. They thought it would be good to lay on a Christmas lunch for people that might otherwise be on their own at Christmas, on Christmas Day. And I have to say, one of the most selfless and fabulous ideas I think I've ever come across. Well, today I'm lucky enough to be in the presence of those people in the studio, Danny and Julie Kelly. Welcome.
Good morning.
Hello. They've become quite some celebrities around the village, I believe, certainly since Christmas Day. Now, where did the idea come from for this, Danny? Was it something that you've been thinking about for some time, or was it just an idea that sprung to your mind?
Actually, we've been delivering to customers now for a number of years, a few years now, so there's been a few of them that are on their own at Christmas, so we was taking them a Christmas dinner.
On Christmas Day?
On Christmas Day.
Oh, wonderful.
And I got thinking, this isn't right, it's not nice being on your own Christmas Day. And it's just something that's been in the back of my mind for a couple of years now. And something I wanted to do something about it, but I haven't enough room at home. So
Well, there's 70 or 80 people.
No, so we said we would do something about it. And Mike Nicholls came to see us about something else actually towards the end of last year. And I mentioned it to him, and he said it's something that he'd be interested in. So we spoke to him in, was it around September time? And yeah, the ball got rolling from there.
The idea just flowered from there and gathered momentum. And I believe there were quite a few people involved, volunteer-wise.
Yes.
I mean, I saw that you were looking for volunteers at one stage, and then next thing you seem to have loads of volunteers. And I believe it was all covered by donations, so...
Yes, it was, yes, yeah. We had a small committee of about 5 of us that kind of organised everything from transport, because everyone was transported there and taken home by Selsey Venture Bus and Selsey Community Bus, who volunteered their time as well. So that had to be done. Then there was another guy that helped coordinate the volunteers, so that was taken care of. So it just left us having to sort.
It's not a local ex-army major or something.
Not quite.
You almost get this picture of.
No. No, it's actually lovely. But yeah, it just left me and Danny then to deal with all the food side of it, which was handy then. We didn't have to worry about the rest of it.
Just left us to deal with the food side of it.
Yes.
And food for 80, 90 people, and and that's all we had to do.
That's all right. That's the easy bit. It was getting it out.
I think perhaps you make it sound easier than it is, but
it was getting it out all together. Was the thing.
It was the easy bit for us because it's what we do.
Well, that's right.
So it was relatively easy for us.
You've been in the catering industry for a good number of years.
30 years now.
Anybody that's listening thinks, well, if they can cook for 70 just at the drop of a hat, we'll have a big crowd around next year. Don't even think about it.
No.
Now, I'm always impressed by the generosity of local businesses. I mean, in the main, we've got small businesses and a small community, so nobody's really making fabulous fortunes. And yet they seem to respond very generously to the untold amount of requests they get for generous donations to one cause or another. And I know throughout the year there are so many charitable things going on in Selsey, which just goes to show what a wonderful place it is to live. But you almost have to feel sorry for the small businesses that keep responding with acts of generosity. And I would just like to say, I admire them so much, and I take my hat off to them, and I'm sure they responded for this particular event in good numbers, and you received an awful lot of stuff by way of donation from different businesses for your fruit and veg and flowers. And
I think it was anything between cash and vouchers that we was given. It must have reached 1,200 quid.
Really?
So, yeah, even we was amazed at that. I mean, when we first had the idea and got the group together, it was, obviously the first question was, how much is this going to cost? And obviously I put a costing on my side of the business, what I'm going to be dealing with, which was the roast turkey dinner and the pudding. So that was my quote, and then it was any little extras that was going to go along with it, and we thought, well, donations will cover at least half of that. Well, we run by that, no problem. Everybody we went to, they said, oh yeah, this is great, we'll do that, no worries. And even one individual said to me, now I'll give you that. She said, you go and see such and such another person and they'll do the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
tell them that I've done it and they'll do the same.
They want to top it.
Yes.
Yeah,
and that's exactly what happened.
So you keep playing one against the other, you were doing well.
That's exactly what happened, yeah.
It's amazing that the strength of the community spirit in Selsey. It really is. As I say, business is, I know because my connection with SACOS, we try and tap the businesses up every year for raffle prizes and donations, and there are a good number of other charity events where where local businesses are asked to put their hands in their pockets or come forward with some freebie or another. It must be a bit of a strain on them, I think, for them to come forward, in such numbers with so much stuff. That's just going to tell you what they think about the idea itself.
Well, yeah, that's exactly right.
To my mind, it's the best Christmas event I've ever come across. To lay on a Christmas day for people that otherwise would have been on their own on Christmas Day, which is not the nicest of feelings. And for those people to be taken out, given a meal, given little presents, Christmas cards and stuff like that. Because I believe you had people handmade Christmas cards for you, and little gifts as well.
It was done between the guides, the brownies and the scouts. One group of them made personalised Christmas cards, handmade. One group made handmade Christmas table mats, and the others made little Christmas gifts wrapped in just a little bit of different coloured foiled Christmas paper with a little ribbon on. We had some fruit baskets and flower baskets.
I mean, the thing that comes across from that is that people are taking the time. People are not just saying, oh, it's another charity wants helping out. Well, here's 80 Christmas cards. People have actually sat down and made the Christmas cards and made the little gifts and taken time to do all this, as well as businesses that have supplied all the other stuff. It's, as I say, for me, it just proves the strength of the community spirit. And I still think Selsey is a village by virtue of its spirit. And I argue the toss regularly over that very point when I'm told it's not. It's a town. We've got a town hall. Well, not for me. It's not. It's a village.
And me.
And that's the kind of spirit. And when you talk to people from outside Selsey, I have friends come down and visit me. They're amazed by it. And I've got friends that come and stay on Bun Leisure, and they can't get down here enough. They're down here every weekend, during the season, just because of the way it is here. And something like this really brings out the community spirit. And you see it other times of the year. The World War One thing we had in the village. Yeah. That was incredible. Yeah, phenomenal. The turnout for that. And even
the Christmas lights,
the usual things, the Christmas lights, and Lifeboat Week, where people come down for that. Thousands of people turn out.
Love to see that Lifeboat Week, that beach full up like it is.
It's incredible, isn't it? Absolutely incredible.
Amazing. It brings a lump to the throat, doesn't it?
Yeah, it certainly does. As I say, and to me, it's indicative of what a good community spirit we've got, and I'm sure you'll be talked into carrying this on. I can see it becoming a tradition in Selsey now, so I don't think you're going to be given the opportunity to sit back and say, well, we've done it, let somebody else do it next year.
We've already said we'll do it again.
Yeah, I figured that would probably happen.
Yeah, we had a meeting last night.
And of course you'd want to, wouldn't you? It must have been a terrific buzz when it was all over.
It was fantastic.
And you sat down and you said...
It took us a week to get over it. But,
I can imagine.
But it was well worth it, because what we can't describe really what we actually got from the day. Just to see those people all there having a chat with everybody. There were so many volunteers that come through there on the day. Most of the guests that we had one-to-one with a volunteer for an hour or so to talk to. There was one lady come in and brought her 4 children, and she emailed me months beforehand when we started this off. She said, I can't come on the day because I've got all my family coming to me. She said, but I'd like to come up and bring my 4 children for about an hour or so. And that's exactly what she did. Brilliant. And she brought the children round each table and spoke to everybody. Yeah. So the children got to see what it was like as well with the older people. Yeah. And it was just everything. The way everything went on the day was just fantastic. Yeah. It must have been very rewarding. Oh, absolutely.
For it to go off as well as it did, and for people to enjoy it as much as they did.
It was wonderful. Yeah. And like I said, we had a meeting last night with a view to putting it on again next year. We're going to have a rest because it was 4 months in the planning. Not hard work, but hard enough to get it all to come together.
It's not actually.
We're going to have a rest for a couple of months, and then we'll meet up again and put the questionnaire out again for everybody. And most of the volunteers that we had this year will come on board again next year. Some that would have volunteered this year, but it was too late for them. They'd made other arrangements. They want to come next year. So
I don't imagine for 1 minute that you'll have any shortage of volunteers next year.
I don't think so. No.
And of course you may well. When word gets around, because it's very difficult for people. If you're on your own Christmas Day, the chances are that you're on your own quite a lot of the time.
Yes, yeah.
And then you get used to being on your own, and perhaps not easy for people to say, well, I put my hand up, I'd like to come. And that must have been very difficult for a lot of people to actually just say, well, I'd like to be a part of that. I'd like to come along.
Very
People
much
think,
so.
well, you know, it's charity. I don't need charity. You know, elderly people seem to think that way far more than perhaps younger people. You know, that it's something there that I could take, you know, but I won't.
No.
We did have some that.
We had one or two like that, and we actually took dinner to them.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you almost expect it, and I had when I saw the start of the ball rolling, I thought, I wonder how many people are going to attend, and I wonder how many people are going to think afterwards, well, I wish I had gone now. I wish I had have put my hand up and said, I'd like to come. Because I think, you know, there are probably a good many people that just wouldn't like to ask.
No.
If somebody said to them, would you like to come, that might be different. Which is a shame, because it must be awful on Christmas Day.
We did have some, I mean, some of them that come along for the dinner, they didn't want to come for a dinner Christmas Day for nothing. I mean, one old boy in his 80s, John, bless him, he said, yeah, I'd like to come along, but I want to help. And he was there at 9 o'clock Christmas morning helping setting up the tables.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
He wanted to come along rather than be on his own, but he wanted to do something for
He
it.
wanted to be part of it. Yeah.
And
Well,
people
great.
wanted to pay for it. So what we actually done on the day, we had a collection box on the day for anybody who wanted to donate anything towards it. And that, the cash raised on the day went to the British Legion Help for Heroes.
Oh, right, yeah, well, that's
And there was £80. Mike Nicholls paid in £80 last week, and I gave him another £10 last night that one of our customers gave us. He said he didn't have it on the day to put in the box. So £90 at least I know of that's gone to British Legion Help for Heroes.
Well,
People that just wanted to put
that'll
something
never
in.
be misspent money, will it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, long may it rain, as I say, I can see it becoming a tradition, and in 15 to 20 years' time, when you might be attending, actually, and you might be sitting there having Christmas dinner. But, you know, 15, 20 years' time down, and people will say...
I remember when Danny and Julie Kelly first started this.
And it was all from just a couple of ideas, really.
Yeah, well...
You know, Julie's idea, and went and see a couple of people, i.e. Mike Nicholls and that, and Steve Saunders from Selsey Life. That's the first two people I approached about it, and they said, well, if that's what you want to do, that's what we'll do. You leave it with us and we'll sort it out. So we ended up having the town hall. I mean, what a privilege that was for us to have the town hall on Christmas Day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, like I said, with all the volunteers that come on board, it made the day easy, really.
Yeah, I think you use the term easy too easily. And for those people that haven't seen it yet, there's a big piece in the local Observer this week.
Page
you might want to have a
34.
read of that. Page 34. Have a read of that. It's a great big double page spread. It's not even big enough to cover what we feel about what went on. As I said before in my book, the most wonderful Christmas idea that I've known in my time. So thanks once again, Danny.
Thank you.
Julie.
Thank you.
And good luck for next year.
Oh, thank you.
You might need a bigger venue.
I think we might.
Yes.
Selsey Centre in 2 sittings. Yeah.
Maybe.
Good luck with it.
Well, Danny and Julie have left the studio now, so I can say without embarrassing them, I've never met them before, but it's not difficult to see why they made such a success of it, because two nicer people you could not meet. And thank you once again. Now, over the past few weeks, we've been hearing from a local man, Tony Dann. And Tony's been giving us an insight into his life and times in Selsey. Tony's had a good number of jobs, not least being in charge of the fire service for 32 years or thereabouts. So we're going back for the last instalment, as it were, on Tony Dann's life up to yet.
Now, behind all these other hats that are hanging on the pegs, I believe you were also a landscape gardener for 40-odd years.
That's correct, yes. I started off actually as an apprentice butcher for a local butcher where Searles are in the High Street now. That was T.W. Adams and Sons. I stabbed myself rather nastily after 3 months.
Was the job really that bad? A suicide attempt?
No, it was just unfortunate. I was asked to take an H-bone out of a side of beef, and I took the H-bone out. The knife slipped on the last cut and went right down through my knee and out through my calf.
Ah.
So it's quite good. It's 13 weeks I was crop with that. And then at the end of that, my boss decided he didn't want me anymore anyway. So I started work the next morning on a building site, which is now Gainsborough Drive, etc. That's that site there. And eventually, who turned out to be my father-in-law, caught me in the pub one night and said, I understand you're doing drainage work over at Waterlooville. Would you be interested in putting a house on the main drainage for me in Selsey? Which I did, and then he offered me £1 a week more than I was earning on the building site. The work was a lot lighter, although gardening is heavy work. It was lighter than we were doing because we were digging footings and drainage work all by hand, no JCBs or anything like that. And I started work for him, and then he trained me up as a landscape gardener. And eventually I went out with his daughter and got married to her and so on. But he was M.A. Hoare and Sons. He was the biggest landscape gardener in this area. He was also a rose grower, which I also took up. And he taught me pretty well. In the end, while I was running my own business, I was doing garden designs, continuity planting, so you had colours all throughout the year. And I was very, very busy.
You must have seen some tremendous changes in Selsey, because you would see what was there before and what was there after, if you like, once you'd finished a field, as it were, that turned into a housing estate, that then the gardens were set out and so
yes, it's quite a big thing. As I say, I was born in Grafton Road, and opposite me in Grafton Road was a house called, is it still there, Lifeboat House, cottage rather, and there were about half a dozen bungalows down on the left-hand side. Everything right over down the right-hand side to the beat, but all the other all the surrounding was all fields, belonged to a local farmer, Ralph Selsby, and gradually, well, Honest Bill was the first person to start building, and we were getting the same response for one bungalow as they're getting now for the big estates that want to move down here. Drainage won't cope and the schools won't cope, and that was for one bungalow. It's been going on for years. But yes, the village has changed considerably. There was about 4,000 people in the village when I was a lad. I don't know what the population is now, well over 11,000, I would think, 10, 11,000. There have been a few alterations, as like the 40s is now Fisherman's Walk. The Gibbet Field is now the Oval Field, and little things like that.
Yeah, I think you get that word.
It changes.
Small changes like that. I think the most important thing is that people that move into the area, they probably move into the area because they like the way it is, because they like this village atmosphere. And as long as they're doing that,
we should be able to maintain the village atmosphere.
I think actually we become quite selfish and protective of what we've got in Selsey, and I think it's quite right we should as well. So, but we should welcome people in, really, not want to keep it all to ourselves. Of course, I don't know how you feel about that, Tony, being born and bred in Selsey. But
yeah, I quite agree with you. It's over the years, although Selsey has grown, it has maintained its community spirit, if you like. Back in 1979, I put together Selsey Half Marathon. And if it wasn't for the residents of Selsey, quite happy to accept that some of the roads were being closed down for a day. Bun Leisure gave us the use of their main road through their estate. The local council let us use the recreation field. And we found that people came out in their hundreds to watch and cheer the people on the way. Also on the field, people came in. We had runners coming from all over the world, thanks to our late friend Hugh Graham. He managed to get the half marathon publicised in all the running magazines all over the world. It went. We had people from Canada, Spain, all over come to Selsey to run the half marathon. It was a Class A race under the 3A's rules, and it went on for 4 years, and eventually had to hand it over to the Lions Club because it got too big for me and my little committee to cope with. But the community, without the community, it wouldn't have happened.
4 years, that would have been just about how long it would have taken me to finish a half marathon, I think. Well, thanks for today, Tony, and thanks for the insight into your life in Selsey and how Selsey was. I know I've been coming here since I was 13, and I've also seen an awful lot of changes, and although I've only lived here for 9 years now, there have been a tremendous amount of changes in that 9 years. But your story about that is far more interesting, and I'm sure we'll talk to you again in the not-too-distant future. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, from one mine of information to another, our next guest in the studio today is Mike Nicholls from Selsey Information Exchange. And Mike's going to be telling us what's happening down there. Mike.
Thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to share something with our listeners about the work of the Selsey Information Exchange in Penny Lane. It's been open 18 months now, and during that time we've assisted nearly 2,000 visitors. In addition, there are many folk who come just to observe the publicity or to take leaflets from outside the exchange, which is next door to the Grumpy's Cafe and opposite Medcars in Penny Lane. Outside we have information that can range from a little pack for people who are new to the community or people who are down here on holiday, or we might have information, as we have at the moment, for the Selsey Business Partnership Awards, where people have just got another week or so to make their nominations for various categories in our community. And then we have many folk who come into the little sort of office that we have, and either may come in to fill in something in the community diary, which is something that is also available online at the Selsey Information Exchange website. The purpose of the community diary is to help us in Selsey avoid clashes of key dates, so that people can come in when they're arranging an event, see whether there's anything else on that day, and then perhaps decide to go ahead or to change the date. But it's just a way of coordinating what we do together to make the best of everything that we have. Of course, we're also one of the bases for the Selsey Internet Radio, and if you have any reflections on these issues or the things you listen to, 01243 201 616, there'll always be an answer on the phone. The Selsey Information Exchange is also the location from which each day a service called Good Morning Selsey goes out. This is a group of volunteers who phone up every day people who have asked for the service, many of whom are either confined at home or restricted in their movements, and it is simply a good morning phone call to offer friendship and a listening ear. Sometimes people want to chat for a long time, sometimes they just need to know that they're being looked after. And this service is also linked up with a group of people from Selsey Time Bank who do befriending visits. And we also link in with Danny and Julie, who do a Meals on Wheels service in Selsey, so that for our older vulnerable people there is now a connected service that can offer friendship, nutrition and care, along with the many others who do that in our community. It's interesting that out of the Selsey Information Exchange, partnerships developed which created the community lunch that was offered on Christmas Day this year, when 66 meals were served to people ranging in age from 18 to 85, and it was a most wonderful event which showed the true spirit of our community. So the Information Exchange is a place where people network, where they share information, where they gain information, where they come and ask the most extraordinary of queries. Sometimes we have to Google the query to answer it. Sometimes we have it in our online directory. And it's just one of the ways in which in Selsey we try and provide people with the information about activities and services so that they can enjoy our vibrant community.
Well, thank you for that, Mike. We look forward to hearing from you again next week, I believe. And, you know, the more I become involved in Selsey Internet Radio and find out loads of new things, for me new anyway, I'd just like to say how proud it makes me to live here. What a wonderful community spirit and what a wonderful place to live. Well, that's it for this week's show. I hope we've been able to provide you with some useful information. I'd like to say thank you for listening and see you again soon. Bye now.